Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jocelyn. I have Dr. Mari with me and Melody, and we have a caller whose name is Tasha. And I know, Tasha, that you have a question on relationships. So welcome, Dr. Mari, Mel, and Tasha. Why don't you just go ahead and get right into it?
Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you all for your time today. I do have a question, and I'm not sure how to actually voice the question, but I'm at a point in my life where I am just frustrated with just dating in general, really at a point of it, whatever, phase of whatever. I'm not sure what my next steps here would be. I've tried everything, obviously without success, attract all kinds of different guys. And I'm just stuck really at this point and not sure which direction to move in. That's really my general question today.
All right, let me tell you what I pick up. The very first thing that I pick up from you is your frustration comes through very clearly, but I also feel like you have some anxiety behind the frustration, almost as if, oh my God, what if I don't get this? What if I'm not meant to be loved? What if love isn't in my cards or my destiny or whatever you want to call it? And the other thing that I pick up from you is I do believe and feel that you've been very disappointed in love. And I think that you've been very hurt in the past. But the biggest thing I feel is you have a gigantic cage around you that just screams, keep out, get away from me. And it's mostly because you don't want to be hurt. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to actually pass this on to Dr. Mari because I think that we can use intuition and psychology here today and make a really interesting podcast. So, Dr. Mari, I'm going to let you have this one.
Hi, Tosh. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. So when Jocelyn talks about a cage around you, what comes up for you? What do you think about that?
My defense mechanism. It's just the type of person that I am, always on the cautious side of things.
Okay. So would that be how you would describe yourself in relationships in the past?
That's how I describe myself in general, not just relationships.
Okay. So how would someone get to know you?
Asking questions.
So if you're dating someone, they'd have to ask the right questions to get to know you?
Right, right.
Okay. So I guess I'm wondering how much of your cage has kept away people who don't know how to do that, but would want to be in a relationship with you.
Okay.
So, from what I understand, you're pretty astute in your career.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you know your stuff in your career.
Correct.
So, if I were a mentee, how would I know how to do what you do at work?
You ask me questions and I would run you through all the scenarios. So that's my work life, which is different. Yeah.
Okay, so you would run them through all the scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you knew that they didn't know to ask the right questions because they're brand new to what you do for a living, how would you engage with that person?
That's difficult for me, and I'll be brutally honest because I've had situations where I've had to train different folks with the job that I do or the various jobs that I do, and my patience isn't there. One, two, I am the type of person where I just want to get the job done and get it done right. So the patience wears thin, and what usually happens is by the end of the day, I've pushed this person out of the way and I've completed what needed to be completed on time. That's what happens almost every single time. I am not the best at mentoring. I'm not a trainer. So I try to do my best, but 95% of the time, what happens is I'll just end up doing my job. I'm not a very good delegator either. I am a team person. I will work with a team. I will take my load on, right, and get the job done. But to mentor, I am not that person. I am not a trainer.
You said something that was interesting. You said, I will take the job on and just get it done right,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having the patience to walk someone through understanding what I do for a living.
Correct.
Okay. So I wonder in relationships if that happens too. So let's say the guy doesn't know how you operate, and you really are the only person in the whole entire world who knows that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make these assumptions that they should know because they're a guy, right? They're a guy.
Right.
They should just automatically
Right.
know how a girl operates, you know? And then you say, you know what? This relationship is not going to work out anyway. So I'm going to take over and get it done. So basically, it becomes a self sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. I just, in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, I think I'm a different person outside of work. I know that may sound crazy to some, but I'm a different type of person outside of work. Work is, that's my world. I enter that workplace, get things done, and I'm out of there. When I am outside of work, I tend to be a little more, what's the word, laid back, giving people more chances than I probably should a lot of times, not just with relationships, but in general. I let them get away with a little more, but then when I hit a limit, I hit that limit, and that's that. Maybe it is self sabotage because once it's done, it's done. I don't look back. I am done with that person for whatever the reason is, whether it's a relationship or friendship or what have you. I am done, but I give them plenty of opportunity. I take notes, when they're not doing something correctly, or for lack of a better term. But then when I'm done, I'm done. So I'm a little different in work. I don't. Work is different. Work, it's one shot and you're out. Outside of work, I probably give people too many chances.
Okay. Too many chances. I just the
Hmm.
hmm. I still
I want to let me pop in for a second. This is Jocelyn. And I want to tell you a little bit of what I'm picking up as I'm listening.
Hmm.
I feel like everything is about control at work. And
Hmm.
I also feel
It's my
like,
domain.
yes,
Work is my
exactly.
domain. Yeah.
And love
Hmm.
maybe isn't so much. And I feel like you have a tendency to pick people that are the antithesis of your expectation at work. They're a little bit sloppier. You give them a little bit more leeway when they're not giving you what you want, need, or expect, probably because you're picking the wrong type of guy. But it seems like you're attracted to that.
Hmm.
And this is just what I'm picking up. I don't know if that helps you at all, Dr. Mari, but my sense about your relationships in the past are you've had
Hmm.
people disappoint you because they don't follow through.
do. Do you like who you are at work?
Yes.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I've been very successful. So the mentality I have at work,
Success and being and liking who you are at work could be two different things.
yes.
So I know you're successful, but you might like the success, and that's why you like how you are at work. So, but
No,
if
I
you
like who I am at work. I do. Yeah.
and so you why do you disconnect that person?
Because in my mind, that's professional, right? So that's something where things need to get done by a certain time. There's deadlines to meet. There's people to report to, things that need to get accomplished. To me, that's a professional setting. So I tend to operate differently. In my mind, life is different. Life isn't there isn't any deadline in life, right? So there isn't that, oh, okay, watching the clock, I got to get this done type of thing, and I got to get it done right. So in my mind, it's two separate things.
But would it be okay to have a deadline in life?
With some things, yeah, if you want to accomplish a certain milestone, let's say, and you have it in your mind that you want, I've done it before, right? I set my mind to having a career by the time I was a certain age, and I hit that milestone. It wasn't a drop dead deadline. It was a range, and I hit that milestone or that goal.
So I guess what I'm at is that that same skill set
Hmm.
I think would do you very well in your personal life. not so hardcore that, there's a deadline. If it doesn't not met, we are not doing this, but definitely a lot of setting expectations.
My worry is if I brought that, even part of that personality, for lack of a better term, out into the real world and away from that corporate setting, I would scare people off.
And you know what? That might be true, but that might be great.
Okay.
That you don't waste time with people who can't, quote unquote, handle you, right? I don't want someone who can't handle you to be in your life. And I want you and him to know that pretty early.
Right.
So maybe you're setting yourself up when you're not allowing them to see all of you, who you really are, because you like this person you are at work.
Mm-hmm.
You like getting things done. You like having expectations and those expectations met. That's who you are.
Right.
And so you're going to end up being like that in relationship if you get into a relationship you feel comfortable in.
Okay.
If you get really comfortable in a relationship, you take the girdle off. That's what we all do, right?
Right.
We take that girdle off, and you're gonna see all the fat. And the reality is that becomes, kind of a trick to get them in, that you're mild and docile and you'll just take whatever. And then when you get them and when you're really in relationship with them, you're gonna be who you are. You're gonna be all of you. And all of you has expectations and likes deadlines and likes to get things done and likes to know where they're going and when they're going and how they're going.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think in some ways when you mute that, you're getting these guys who would never meet your expectations.
Right.
Because you're not meeting your own expectations.
Right. That makes sense.
And so, there's this new phenomenon. I don't think it's really new, but everything is new under the sun. Every 6 months we change the words of things, but it's called bringing all of you to work. So that's the new thing. Everybody wants to be able to bring all of themselves to work. So if I cry at home, I want to be able to cry at work. If I, and at first I was thinking, oh, that's just ridiculous, right? But now I'm like, no, I actually like that. I want people to be exactly who they are, because the minute that you put the girdle on, no one is really seeing the real you.
Yeah, and I guess that old school mentality of mine comes in, right? Because, throughout my career, you leave everything at the front door when you walk into work, right? So you leave your personal problems and issues and things at that door when you badge in. When you're at your desk, that stuff's not with you. But yeah, like you said, new times.
New times, but I don't know this stuff's not with you. I think that you bottle it up and then you explode when you get home, right? So it's still with you. You're just packing it down for a little bit.
I'm just delaying it.
Yeah, you're delaying it. And so then you overcompensate for not allowing yourself to be who you need to be at work, at home, and it becomes dysfunctional. So you're basically dysfunctional both places. It just you're more skilled at hiding the dysfunction at work.
Right.
Is that because it's more acceptable?
Yes.
Well, of course. Where she's at, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what would be some of the things that you would have her practice and do both at work and going on a date? Because I think that once you give her some tools, she'll be more willing to take the signs off of the cage and maybe crack the door.
Well, I think so. I'm not saying change what she does at work, because she likes that person, right? And I don't ever want to change something somebody likes.
Got it. Yeah,
as long as it's not hurting them, right? So it's more of becoming that at home, right? So it's like you said, I'm done with this whole dating thing. I don't want to even fool with it. I just don't like it, right? And I think part of that's because you have no control over it, right? So now we start controlling that part of our life, just like we do at work. We get back out in the dating game, and the minute this guy doesn't do what you need him to do, you say, no, you're not going to meet my expectations, so we are not going to do this. But that's way before you get into, I can get hurt from you.
Right.
It's at the very beginning of the relationship where I'm detailing and explaining who I am, what I am, how I operate, all those things. We said this in another podcast, being very explicit about how to operate my car. I'm my car. There's an operations manual. It tells you how every little thing works.
Expectations, Tasha. Yeah, so it's being clear in your expectations. And I think Dr. Mari will tell you in the last podcast that we did, the expectations have to be explicit. And Dr. Mari, how many times would you have a woman tell a man explicitly, let's just say that the first time he doesn't really hear her, right? Which he probably heard what he wanted to hear. Would you have her tell him again? And then if he didn't do that, to just say, this isn't going to work?
So, I think it's a continual conversation because the relationship does evolve, hopefully, right? And you're not going to just on the first date say, okay, you better do this, or we're never going to talk again. It's not that. It is something to the effect of, like for Mari does not like to text conversations. I don't want to do that. So I don't care who I'm with. I want to talk to you. I want to just pick up the phone and call you, whether it's my girlfriends or my guy friends or whoever. So I say that, I'm real big on verbalizing what I'm feeling and what's going on with me. So I'm going to need to talk to you on the phone if we're going to continue this. It's that. And then you add more to the story and more. So let them meet that one expectation first before you give them more. If they don't meet that one expectation, then we're not even going anywhere else. There's no point.
Right. It makes sense. What you're saying is to do really the opposite of what I've been doing, right? Because starting relationships off mellow and kind of, laid back and a little open, right? And then, trying to build up that, what's the word I'm looking for?
The camaraderie, sort of,
pattern
the communication and the camaraderie with a man. Sure.
Yeah. So that's, I think, how I've been trying to tackle it in the past.
Sure.
Trying to be understanding at first, accommodating, but maybe I need to flip that and, do bring out that person that is at work and gets stuff done.
Well,
right at the beginning.
Boy, it sure sends the wrong message for a person that is so in control at work to come off in a relationship being really laid back, just letting it flow.
Right.
Oh my God, it completely speaks that it would never work for you. It's almost like you're trying to be somebody that you're not, because, maybe you're making up for something else. But what it will do is it'll mitigate a lot of the pain that you're experiencing.
Well, I think the reason I did that in the past is because I know me at work and I can be overwhelming. I can be aggressive. I can be assertive. I am in your face. When something is not going right or not, it doesn't look like it's going to get done, I'm a handful to deal with. But at work, that's what they come to expect, right? They know that I can get the job done. So it's expected of me. And I slide a lot of times because they know it'll get the job done. So I think over the years, that's been a little bit of a worry for me, is if I do come off that way. I mean, how would you feel, if you were a guy and you got this chick in your face, like, look, this isn't going to work because you just messed up.
Wait. I'll tell you, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but societally, you're speaking, oh my God, a guy isn't going to like me. First of all, if you practice what Dr. Mari said, you're not going to have to do that. You won't get in their face because you set your expectation. And if they're not able to meet your expectation, you're going to get out of that. You see, I think that what's happened is you were afraid of being, not even aggressive. Let's not even put words on them. You were afraid to communicate what you needed and stand in that. That's what I'm hearing. Does that sound right, Dr. Mari?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that came up for me. One is that I just want you to know you're enough. Just yourself. You're enough for the right one. Not for everybody. And you're not too much for the right person. Not for everybody. But we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for one guy. So, right, just one. So you don't have to go through whether they're going to or not. You're only looking for one that says you're not too much and you are enough. And that person exists, but you have to believe that first. You have, and so that the way you believe it first is that that's how you practice. And so I do a lot of sports psychology, and I always tell my guys, you will play how you practice. You will perform how you practice. So if you practice being muted and not getting your expectations out there and them not meeting your needs, you'll continue to get that. That's what you're going to get because that's how you're performing. That's how you're practicing. So that's how you're performing. And so the problem is that you're going to come in contact with a guy who's just as aggressive as you, right? That's going to be the conflict. But it's going to be great because they're going to be able to handle you. They're going to be able to say, no, we're not doing it that way. And you're like, what do you mean we're not doing it that way? I want to do it that way. And there's an argument, but you can stand your ground.
Mhm.
And guess what? It's actually going to excite you and it's going to excite him. That's how that works, right? So I'm in a relationship with a guy that's very much like that. And if you talk to him, he'd say, you know what? I was really bored with all the chicks I was just out there with, really bored with them. But he was with them, right? All day long. But they didn't excite him intellectually at all. Right? Here I come and I'm a spitfire. I mean, I don't really hold back. I say what I gotta say. And I'm telling you, it was like oil and water for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would be in his ass, he'd be in my ass, but guess what? We keep on coming back. Because
That's
it was
refreshing,
like
though.
the first woman that
That's refreshing.
Right, the first woman to stand up.
He's going to look at you and say, my God, you're a refreshing change. Yeah.
Yes. And he said to me one time, he said, I love you. And I was like, what? He's like, what? What did you say? He's like, you don't know what you do for me because you don't let me just get by. And he's a charismatic, he can charm the pants off a snake kind of guy.
Mm.
And I call him on it every single time. And I don't put up with it. I'm like, don't give me that. I don't want to hear that. That's what you tell all the girls. I want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, you can't handle the truth. I absolutely can. And I stand in there with him. And so my point is that's the type of power I feel from you. You have that type of power with people. And when you extend that to your love life, you're going to find a guy that's going to say, that excites me. I like that. I don't want to be with someone I can just run over.
Right.
But you're playing the other role. You're playing the person that can be ran over.
Yeah.
So then would you say she's being her more authentic self when she shows up and she is who she is and just embraces that? I'm going to have Melody read your cards for you really quickly. I'd like to see what comes up now that we've had this conversation. Okay. But Dr. Maury touched on something that I think is really important. And I think that when she says that you will play as you practice, it is a visualization technique. And as you rehearse this movie in your head and see and feel meeting somebody that will embrace you and feeling good about embracing yourself and going, wow, you know what? I'm really okay. There is a guy out there like that. You're not discouraged anymore. It's almost like I feel like your disappointment has dropped away. Just remember that what you visualize, you actually are creating, and you'll see it in this three-dimensional world. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. And what you've been saying is, that's why I saw the cage around you that said, keep out. You're so tired of being disappointed. And I think it's because of what she's saying. You're going to pull to you the right guy and you're going to repel the wrong guys. And that's when we need to say thank you. That's a sign, right? If you're repelling somebody, they don't belong in your life. Mm-hmm. If somebody comes to you and it works, they belong in your life.
Right. Exactly.
Mel, are you on with us?
I am.
Why don't you go ahead and see what comes up in the cards now for Tasha?
Okay. So just in the interest of time, while you guys were talking, I pulled a lot of cards and I am going to summarize them because a lot of messages came through, but I know we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to give you the shortest version I possibly can so that it's a little bit more streamlined so you can get everything that's important and not take another hour to get to the point. So the first thing that really came through is that strength is first of all your biggest compliment. It's the biggest compliment about you. It's the biggest thing. It's your greatest. It's one of the best qualities about you. However, it can also be your biggest repellent. And you do need to kind of soften yourself a bit. And what came through paired with that is looking at yourself and relationships in a new perspective, seeing yourself and how you approach men and how you approach relationships from a new perspective, because the way that you've been handling it, it's just not working. Also, a new person is coming. I do see a new person coming, and I think the last time I read for you, I saw that as well. So in your head, you do tend to you have this trouble of doing too much work. Your life does get a little bit too out of balance with that, and that prevents or that blocks the energy of allowing love, the correct love, the right love to come in. Not that you're not dating, not that you're not meeting people, but you're not meeting the right people. And it's not it's blocking the right people to come in. So as far as result and where we're going and where your future is looking, I see that you're going to be able to kind of end this situation as far as the energy that is starting to come to an end, because you're done with it. You don't want to do this anymore. We've given you these tools, you're committed to it, and you're going to do it. And that's what's going to happen. So I see the card literally says release. So you are releasing this. You've started your journey right here, right now, today, of releasing with that intention. Now that you've started, you've set these wheels in motion, all right? It's going to start to move quickly as long as you continue. So I see, number one, it will move quickly and as long as you continue along this path, it will happen fast. Real love is going to come in once you continue to honor yourself. You will, for one, I have steps for you. One, you need to give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Take care of yourself. Mental health, physical health, self-love, self-care, maybe even a vacation, okay? Number two, look at things differently, which we already talked about a little bit. Okay, that's a positive change. Number three, you need to break up your energy, which we already discussed. By doing some of the things that we suggested, this will open the door for the person who's coming in. So, with all that being said, that's what I'm seeing.
That's really good. Actually, that confirms it confirms, and one of the things that she definitely points out, Tasha, is you do the work. And I think that if you employ what Dr. Mari has given you, and you really work on the visualization and really feel what it is that you want, know that you can have it. And I really feel like you got that in your heart today. You know you can have it based on being who you are, right? Like, we like that. We like strong women. We like somebody that's straightforward. For us, that's really refreshing too.
Right.
You know, and it's not that we're opposed to somebody being introverted or shy. We love that too. Right. But introverted and shy people can be very direct, just in a different way. But it's really about embracing and celebrating yourself and who you are. So
let me just say one more thing real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. One last thing that just came through right this second as you were talking. Close the door on everything before now. Done. Shut the door. Shut it, lock it, throw the key away. It's over. Do not beat yourself up over it and let it all go. Write it down and burn it if you have to, but let it go. It's done. Do not even look back. It's over. You're starting now, right now, today.
Okay.
Yeah, be grateful for them. Thank them. You know, forgive them. Forgiveness is very interesting because neurologically, sure, it releases you
and forgive you
from those things.
Forgive you,
yeah, and
too.
Forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is very important. So I think that when you begin to process this, you can see that you're releasing yourself from the past only because you weren't allowing yourself to be who you are, not who you were, but who you are. And knowing that and embracing that, you're going to be more open and willing to meeting somebody. And trust me, with powerful energy like you have, you will repel what you're not supposed to have, and you will magnetize what you're supposed to have. You'll pull it right to you. Tosh, thanks for joining us today. Dr. Mari, Melody, thank you so much for your input. I think it was really helpful. And if anybody is interested in speaking to Dr. Mari, me, or Melody, go to JocelynLive.com.